Welcome to the 100 Club. I'm Tom, and that's Rich, and we're here to talk again about the world of white ball cricket this week. Rich, how's it going?
Very well, Tom. Finally, I got a prediction right.
You did. Congratulations. The big news this week, undoubtedly, the victory of the Chennai Super Kings in IPL 2021, as foreseen by our very own Rich.
Yeah. not the greatest prediction, I think, when it came down to the final four, but no, CSK definitely the best team of the eliminators and worthy winners. I think their fourth title, ninth final overall out of only 14 editions. So amazing record.
It is, and I think we'll probably touch on a few bits to do with it. But I think let's start with the CSK legacy, as it were, because with the reshaping of the IPL that we're going to see from the announcement of two new franchises at the beginning of next week, I think the 25th, and then the mega auction that's going to take place between December and January, we're going to see a reshaping of this team. And perhaps no team will change more, I suspect, than CSK. So was this the last run out for this team of aged but experienced winners?
I mean, that was one of the big questions after the victory. Dhoni was asked about it in his post-match interview. He didn't commit to retirement. He said he might be back. But they did make an acknowledgement that when it comes to retaining the four players, that they got to look to the future. So I don't know who that necessarily is, but if you're going to have one spot being used for Dhoni as a retained player, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. So it's going to be where sort of where the crumbs fall. But it will look a different side going forward. But with Stephen Fleming at the helm and probably a lot of the backroom staff still in place, you wouldn't bet against them being back in the final next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have some amazing talent. Clearly, someone like Dhoni, DJ Bravo, Jadeja played brilliantly, I think, a lot of the time. But let's pick out some of the absolute stars. I'm going to start with the orange cap winning Ruturaj Gaikwad.
Ruturaj Gaikwad, fantastic tournament. Really made his name. Hasn't been known in recent years as being a power hit. In fact, it's been sort of known as a kind of a nerdler, a rotator. But he's really added that to his game, and he's been phenomenal. And a worthy win of the orange cap, just beating out Faf du Plessis, the 37-year-old South African.
Absolutely, and Faf absolutely had a great tournament, scoring 635 over the duration. At one point in the final, looked like he might nip the orange cap off his partner, as he made it all the way up to 86 off 59. But actually slowed down quite a bit towards the end of the innings and allowed Moeen Ali and Utapa to do a lot of the heavy lifting for him.
That was sort of the game within a game, wasn't it? Sort of
it was
good Faf track down Gaikwad's orange cap total. But it's been a good tournament for Moeen. It's been a good year in white ball cricket for Moeen. I know there was sort of a bit of consternation over his decision to retire from tests, but he had a fantastic summer in the 100. Led Birmingham incredibly well. Comes and joins this team. He's an integral part of this CSK team. He's batting at 3 or 4. He's contributing with the ball as well. In this game, 37 off 20 odd balls. Really provided some impetus to get them up to that 190 odd, because it was a newer pitch than's been used elsewhere in Dubai. So it was a better batting wicket. They needed to get up close to sort of above 180 towards 200 in order to be competitive. It was a crucial knock from Mo, and some very clean hitting. Bodes well for the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, it does. I mean, so that was Faf du Plessis' 100th game for CSK. Moeen Ali becomes the first Englishman to win an IPL, or be part of the winning team. So some good stuff there. As you say, got to a good total. And for a while, though, the KKR chase got off to a great start. Thanks again to another of tremendous opening partnership of Gill and Venkatesh Iyer.
Yeah, Venkatesh Iyer has been a revelation since he came in. I think it was his 450, was it, in the since the restart? And when he and Gill were going early on, you thought game on at that point, because they were well up with the rate. As I said, it was a good pitch, and at that point, CSK didn't have a lot of answers. There was a very strange moment. I don't know if you heard about it, where I think was it Gill who was caught?
Waidu caught him.
Yeah, but it's ruled dead ball because it clipped one of the spider cam wires, which is that's something I've never really seen before on a cricket field. But yeah, like I said, they've been a critical part of the recovery in the second half of the tournament for KKR, those openers. Yeah. But once again, it was the middle order.
Nothing beyond it.
Yeah, because I mean, they were only in the final because they beat Delhi Capitals in the eliminator, a game they were absolutely cruising. They needed 11 off the last 18, I think, with 8 wickets in hand. Nearly lost that game. In fact, got it down to needing 6 off the last 2, at which point Tripathi hammers Ravi Ashwin for a 6 and gets them in the final. So at that point, absolute collapse. And then they did the same again. I think it was 8 for 34 or something, was it, in that middle over period? Very difficult few overs there for KKR.
Yeah, so the combination of Rana, Nareen, Morgan, Dinesh Karthik, Al Hassan and Tripathi added a total of 17 runs from the first 2. So pretty poor. And in fact, you could say that CSK almost gave them another life when Dhoni dropped Iyer on his second ball overall. So, I mean, it wasn't really perhaps as close as it felt like it would be at one point.
There was a bit of late hitting that sort of made it a little bit more respectable, got them up to 160 odd. But once those wickets were tumbling, it was never in doubt. And and again, Owen Morgan once again failing with the bat. I think he only made 4 or 5.
Yep. And Shardul Thakur did a good job. I think 3 for 38. Sorry. So we can give him a shout out for his tournament, and he's been rewarded this week as well with a call up to the India World Cup squad.
Yeah, well deserved. 21 wickets overall, I think, and a critical element of that CSK success.
Yeah, so he's gone into that squad for the World Cup for India as a replacement for Akshar Patel. I think give him another pace option, given that Hardik Pandya isn't bowling any pace at the minute. So I think that's a good addition for them, which is obviously clearly a very strong squad. We've gone through the squads already in a previous video. We might touch back again before the end of this video on some other interesting changes going on. So yeah, CSK see off KKR in the final, and on the route to that, we saw CSK beat Delhi Capitals by 4 wickets, and that was a Dhoni masterclass in how to win a match, I think, with 18 off 6 balls just at the end.
Yeah, he's still got it. Still sharp, man. And Delhi will be a little bit disappointed. They led the pack through most of the tournament. I think CSK Delhi in that first eliminator was always going to be a bit of a coin toss, but I think they'll be disappointed that they didn't get better of KKR in their second bite of the cherry.
Well, you've already mentioned it, how they almost reined back KKR with that fantastic bowling attack. And I think they were, as you said, they needed 13 from 25 KKR. And Delhi Capitals attack managed to get it down to 6. Took 6 for 7 and got them down to 6 from 2. But it just kind of, I think some of the themes we've seen throughout the last few games have been consistent throughout the tournament. KKR, strong batting, very weak through the middle. Delhi Capitals, great bowling, perhaps not enough in the batting, power hitting side. CSK, ultimately, that opening partnership did the job throughout and a richly deserved victory for them.
Yeah, a lot was made of sort of the KKR approach this week, contrasting it with more sort of the conservative styles of some of the other team. The fact that they do bowl a lot of spin in the power play, the fact that they did take on sort of Venkatesh Iyer and promoted him to open when a lot of teams weren't even looking at him. This reliance on mystery spin through the middle orders, the idea of kind of going hard through the 20 overs, this emphasis on boundary hitting that a lot of people talk about now. And I mean, it's one thing to be counter-cultural if it works and you end up winning, but when you come up against a team that really exactly know their game plan, like CSK, and execute it, just goes to show that at the end of the day, cricket is about executing, going out there, your best players scoring runs in the big games. That's what wins you tournaments.
Absolutely. And one last mention from the week's cricket, clearly in the IPL, is the end of Virat Kohli's reign as RCB captain. Off he'll move. I don't know whether he'll move off, but a slightly disappointing end to the tournament for them. But again, a good effort from RCB. I think they can be happy with their tournament as a whole. Yeah,
I think so. They obviously got into a position where they thought they had a chance at the finals. They came in as a form team, in my opinion. But and the IPL, the standard is so high on any given day, any team can beat another, and they just came across KKR in good form that day.
Well, particularly Nareen, good pinch hitting from him, changed the shape of that game very quickly, actually, on a very slow Sharjah pitch, which I suppose brings us up to the World Cup, which starts today, Rich.
Amazing.
It
does. A huge break after the end of the IPL, and in we go.
Well, yeah, it's the show before the show slightly, clearly this week with the Groups A and B games, and starting with a home team game with Oman playing in Muscat in front of 3,000 Omani fans, I hope, against Papua New Guinea. So we've got a lot of cricket there to watch this week. The remainder of the pitches will be used clearly from in the United Arab Emirates, as we've already mentioned. So there's a mixture of pitches there. We're going to see, I think, a mixture of really big scores and a mixture of really slow pitches. It could be quite interesting on how the teams balance themselves, and the squads that maybe have the tools to deal with those different conditions might be the teams that do best. Any comment on that sort of world?
So I think most teams will have players coming in from IPL squads. And I think that they will play an important role in sort of communicating to their teammates what the wickets are like at different points. I think the teams that assess the wickets early and understand what a good score is going to be are going to be in an advantage. And I think sort of the analysts who are following it will have been watching very, very closely. The differences between, as we've said, Sharjah has generally been lower scoring, despite it being a small ground, whereas Dubai's sort of seen, and Abu Dhabi, I think, has seen the highest scores of the lot. I think that could impact selection. Actually, I think teams may be going in with 3 spinners at Sharjah, whereas sort of favouring the quicks in Abu Dhabi. It could be interesting. Use of squads will be key.
And talking of squads, it happened 10 days ago, I think now, but it's worth mentioning some of the rolling of the dice that's been taken from the Pakistan squad as well, in terms of shifting around their squad before the final announcement. So we did our preview, and since then, actually, there's been some big changes. So Azam Khan, Mohammed Hasnain, and Khurshid Shah have been pulled out. Khurshid Shah coming down to injury replacement and replaced by a steady trio that I think we were quite keen to get them in there in the first place anyway. Haider Ali, Fakhar Zaman, and Sarfaraz Ahmed. All announced as incoming, and then unfortunately Sahab Maqsood unable to recover from a back injury, bringing in an even more experienced warhorse in Shoaib Malik. Does that make him a better squad?
Oh, in a week that William Shatner went into space, Tom, Pakistan very much resurrecting the old crew to steer them to T20 glory. They're all vastly experienced players. I'm sure they can still do a good job.
Yeah,
it's real contrast, isn't it, to Pakistan bringing in those sort of senior players back in compared to South Africa, who made a very deliberate choice to exclude their senior players, even with as we said, 37-year-old Faf being the second highest scorer in the IPL.
Yeah,
not good enough for South Africa,
or someone like Janaman Milan, despite a fantastic year. There you go.
AB de Villiers, not in either.
Okay, so we've got a lot of that cricket to look forward to. The other tournament that has started in the past week, and I don't know how much you've caught of it, because obviously it takes place in the middle of the night for us, so actually quite difficult to follow, but is the Women's Big Bash League down in Australia, all being hosted in Hobart, in Tasmania this year, so all the teams are centred around there, which is an interesting pitch
tournament, or was just the first 20 games, Tom?
Oh, I'd have to check. Sorry, all the games so far.
I think it's the first 20 games are going to be in and around there, and I think they've had some issues with, lockdowns, which they're very fond of down Aussie way. But
movement not so easy.
And a bit of weather as well, knocking around. But how's it all started?
Well, it's been a good start. I think it's fairly predictable. The Sixers look like a great team. They've played 2 games so far, so they beat the Stars in a rain-affected game in the opener. Alyssa Healy hitting 57 did most of the business there. Actually, also took changed the game really, taking 20 off Annabelle Sutherland in their 7th over. So off the 11 overs, just posted a total that nobody else got close to. And then
great,
the Sixers again.
Great game today.
Yeah,
you want to get onto that one?
Well, I'll just finish off the Sixers again. I mean, just showing the depth of their squad as Shefali Verma hitting a 57 today. So if Healy doesn't do it, then you've got Verma or you've got Villani. Villani is on the star side. But yeah, so plenty of talent in there. I think there'll be a team to watch throughout. Today, as you say, great game. Scorchers beating Brisbane Heat in a super over.
They did, yeah. It was a tied match. 137 played 137. As you said, the Scorchers came through in that one over eliminator.
Yeah, Sophie Devine hitting a couple of sixes, chasing down 12 for 2. So actually, pretty much did it in 2 balls, but took another 2 balls, I think, to get to the final 14 for none off the super over. But a great result through them, and that's their first game. So Scorchers off to a good start. And then in the other matches so far, you've had the Renegades beating the Hurricanes. Hurricanes look like a poor outfit, I'm afraid, in comparison to some of the others. Might be quite dependent on someone like Rachel Priest at the top of the order, who hasn't really fired yet. But Jimmy Rodriguez and Harmanpreet Kaur both had a good innings in that game. And then you've got the strikers who beat the Thunder as well. Talia McGrath, who is in outrageous form, pretty much doing it on her own, hitting 42 and then taking 3 for 17, including Shriti Randana, a game-changing wicket on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 out 2 for the Sixers, right? So they were look strong. Yeah, everybody's played now, so we've had a look, and we'll see how that table develops in the coming days.
Yeah, and 22 players from the 100 who've made it over for that tournament. So plenty to scout for next year.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So
and of course, it doesn't include any of the essentially contracted English women because they're preparing for their tour later in the year. I think. But a few others, as we mentioned last week, the likes of Izzy Wong, Eve Jones, playing down there, Maya Boucher.
Yeah. And clearly a lot of the overseas stars have made it over there. Someone like Duncan the Nick and Marizan Kapp and all of that. So hugely quality, hugely talented lineup, as always, for the WBBL. So some great cricket going to be going on over there for the next few weeks. We're going to be busy. I'm going to have to head home. So I've actually somewhere where I can perhaps watch a bit more cricket rather than just enjoying sunshine and the swimming pool. But it's all good.
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy couple of weeks. We've got the Associate Nations kicking off, the WBBL, and then when do the big guys start, Tom? In the World Cup?
It's next weekend. So that'll be the England-West Indies game. Promises to be an absolute stonker to kick off the Super 12 and on to the World Cup. I can't wait.
So be good.
Yeah. Rich, I'll catch you with you, and we'll catch you here again next time on the 100 Club. If you've enjoyed that content, please let us know. Always appreciate it. Send us a question and tell your friends they need to watch.
Cheers.
Catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.